Today, we'll be talking about what self-love means and how to show yourself more love. What does it mean to love yourself? When we love ourselves, we have an appreciation for our own worth or value. We don't need affirmation from others, and we don't need them to tell us that we're good enough, smart enough, attractive enough. We simply know. As a result, we have positive views about ourselves and feel good about who we are most of the time. We also tend to have higher levels of self-worth, self-respect, and self-confidence. Loving yourself is super important for well-being. In fact, according to the people who have taken our well-being survey, a positive view of the self was the thing most related to happiness. That means the more positive self-views you have, or the more you love yourself, the higher your happiness is likely to be. Other studies have supported this idea by suggesting that having positive feelings about yourself may just be the key to happiness, success, and popularity. So what does it look like when you don't love yourself? When we don't love ourselves, we have more negative feelings and self-focused negative emotions. For example, we may feel inadequate, shame, angry, driven to prove ourselves to others, lonely, guilty, and rejected. We might also feel addicted to things that make us feel better in the short term, but hurt us in the longer term. For example, we might use alcohol, drugs, food, shopping, or workaholism to reduce our negative emotions and boost our positive emotions. If you struggle to love yourself, you might also be more critical of yourself. You might engage in behaviors like negative self-talk. For example, you might say to yourself, "I'm worthless, I could never succeed at this," or "I'm not smart enough." These thought patterns can generate feelings of anxiety, sadness, or hopelessness. There may be many other experiences that go along with low levels of self-love. For example, in one study, school counselors were asked to describe students with low self-esteem. Here are some of the words they used to describe these students: withdrawn, insecure, negative attitude, unhappy, hostile, depressed, and poor self-image. As you can see, when we have a difficult time loving ourselves, this spills into other areas of our lives and can make it difficult to achieve our goals and build healthy relationships. So how do we learn to love ourselves? Although increasing our self-esteem and learning to love ourselves is not the easiest thing to do, we do have the power to increase the number of positive feelings we have about ourselves. Often, this starts with action. For example, removing unloving people and behaviors from our lives. By acting in ways that are self-loving, we slowly teach ourselves that we are worthy and lovable. We show ourselves that we love ourselves. So, for example, we may be tolerating unhealthy relationships. What does it matter if they treat us like dirt? We probably deserve it, we might say to ourselves. To practice more self-love, we might shift to being someone who stands up for ourselves. "Hey, don't talk to me like that," we might say. When people tell us to love ourselves, what exactly do they mean? Which parts of ourselves are they referring to? Most of us already have parts of ourselves that we like, are proud of, and celebrate. But the truth is that most of us also have parts that we criticize, ignore, or harm. These parts are often so neglected that we may not even know that they exist. These lost parts first need to be found, then acknowledged, then accepted. This is what we mean by self-love. So why don't we love all of our parts? As children, Our first priority was to maintain relationships with our parents and community. We needed them to survive. As a result, we learned to ignore or criticize the parts of us that these people deemed unacceptable. This is a completely normal response. Unfortunately, as we grow older, these learnings become mental scripts that continue to harm the parts of us that were seen as unacceptable. We are now the ones who criticize or neglect these parts. But the good news is that this means we have the power to reverse this habit and begin to practice self-love towards these parts. So the process of self-love involves digging a bit deeper into our unconscious to find the rejected, neglected, and mistreated parts of ourselves. We then begin to show these parts as much attention, acceptance, and love as we possibly can. We do this by thinking of the part like a child and treating the part just like we would any child, that is, with care, kindness, and support. As you get to know your lost parts, you'll usually start to notice that when you talk to them, they talk back. Your voice is the conscious mind, and their voices are aspects of your unconscious mind. Their voices have been programmed by your experiences, usually in early childhood, and they can often be cruel, afraid, ashamed, aggressive, and even scary. Try to remember that these parts of you are like children, and you may even experience them as children. The more difficult their behavior, the more love they need. It's your job to show your lost parts the love they didn't get so that they can begin to heal. Some of your parts will heal rather quickly when shown love. Other parts will fight, rebel, distrust, and resist. Again, try to remember that these are natural responses to emotional pain and that love is the cure. These parts of yourself really need your love. When we begin to bring attention to our lost parts, they can sometimes throw tantrums and have other unhealthy responses. They're just upset that we've been ignoring them. And can you blame them? In time and with consistent love, they'll settle down. But if you are ever in distress, be sure to seek out the support of a counselor or therapist. Here are a few more strategies to practice self-love. There are, in fact, many science-backed strategies that you can use to start loving yourself more. You may not feel comfortable treating yourself with the level of kindness and respect you deserve at first. So take your time and ease into self-love strategies slowly if you feel like that's helpful. Here are some strategies to try. 1. Be self-compassionate. Self-compassion involves being compassionate towards yourself. According to self-compassion expert Dr. Kristen Neff, self-compassion includes several components. These are self-kindness, common humanity, and mindfulness. Self-kindness involves being patient with the aspects of your personality that you don't like, being caring towards yourself when you're going through a hard time, and being tolerant of your flaws. Common humanity involves understanding that all people feel inadequate sometimes, that self-doubts are a part of the human condition, and that you'll likely go through similar difficulties as others. Mindfulness, as it relates to self-compassion, involves exploring your feelings with openness and curiosity, attempting to take a balanced view of your situation, and keeping things in perspective. Building each of these skills can help boost self-compassion and help you to love yourself more. Another helpful practice is loving kindness meditation. Loving kindness meditation is a type of Buddhist meditation that is often used to help people cultivate unconditional kind attitudes towards themselves and others. It involves repeating phrases such as, "May you be happy," or "May you be free from suffering," towards others and yourself. Loving kindness meditation is a good way to get more comfortable with feeling love for yourself and others. Many of us struggle to overlook our flaws and just love ourselves for who we are. Luckily, there are many science-based strategies we can use to love ourselves more and create a life where we're truly happy. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and check out our free resources at berkeleywellbeing.com.